Get this angle right, huh? Oh, interesting. Let me get you a little more this way. I usually figure that out before I start the thing. Okay. Good morning and welcome to Morning Medley number 150. 159. Tomorrow is going to be the first attempt at an OBS stream, so before we get ahead of ourselves, I guess, greetings to Cyber, Maddie, Crow, Kiwi. I think that's it. I think that's it for now. As usual, I'm going to start the stream with a rendition of Spring Street. birthday cake, Maddie. That's good to hear. I mean, I'm happy for your friend. Also, if you're in the stream and you enjoy the stream, this is your reminder to like the video, just in case I forget to remind people later. Good morning, Jordan. I had a bummer evening too, but we are back, says Jordan. Yeah. Oh yeah, new Pokemon Snap. You know what's interesting? I often hate on Pokemon Snap, the first one, because even though I had a lot of fun playing it as a kid, in hindsight, sometimes I look back at it and I was like, what was that game exactly? Like, by today's standards, that game would be like DLC for a much fuller, actualized game. Or it would be like a mobile game, or like some $9 PSN game. It wouldn't be like a full Nintendo 64. Like, it was a whole game. And it wasn't like there was that many levels. I can remember all of the levels in that game. I can remember the volcano level. I can remember the first level where there was the Scyther in the grass. I can remember the weird Rainbow Road level where there was a Mewtwo. I mean, sorry, a Mew. That you had to. Anyways, I remember all of it. And it wasn't a very big game. But whatever. Anyways, I guess make a second one, yeah. I really want to get into music, says Maddie. Oh, music gaming. I gotta finish these comments. Maddie says I really want to get into music gaming, like rhythm games and stuff. I've just never played any before. I have a feeling that it'd take a while for me to get the hang of them. Maddie, as somebody who has played a lot of rhythm games and can actually attribute rhythm games for a lot of the inspiration is a rough word. Let me say foundation for a lot of my songwriting ability and my sense of rhythm. I would say that rhythm games started off very, very simple, right? You have something like DDR, where it's just, hit the arrows, there's only 4 of them. Or you have something like frequency, where there aren't even 4 things, there are only 3 things that you can do in frequency. There's 3 buttons: square, triangle, and circle. Frequency is a pretty old Harmonix title. Harmonix you might recognize as the company that made Rock Band. They made rhythm games years and years ago, some of the first I ever played. And I would say that if you're trying to get into rhythm games, obviously you can get in at any juncture, right? It's a highway with a million on-ramps. But if you feel intimidated by rhythm games, I would recommend starting with one of the older, more simplistic ones, a good one like that. Even Audio Surf, even though it's not, people have made the argument it's not technically a rhythm game, or a traditional rhythm game, you can play something like that. But I recommend Frequency and Amplitude. If there's any way you can get your hands on either one of those games, Frequency or Amplitude, it's such a good base for then attacking more complex rhythm games. But a lot of people have played Guitar Hero. Well, I would say that Guitar Hero... that's wild. Guitar Hero is technically a rhythm game, but I usually don't list it in my definition of rhythm games because... why don't I do that? I guess that's a conversation for another time on why I don't consider Guitar Hero a traditional rhythm game. That's a good point, Sam Gamma. Just a wildlife photography game. I suppose if there weren't Pokemon on it, I wouldn't have bought it as a kid, or I wouldn't have asked my parents to get it for me as a kid, so... Point Pokemon. Good morning, Ninja Red. This is true, Sam. DDR with a controller is actually kind of fun, particularly for the harder songs. I don't know. It's like Stepmania. It's a lot easier, in my opinion. Less movement. Guitar Hero doesn't have timing judgment, so you can only hit a note or miss a note. It's also not. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it doesn't feel like a rhythm game to me. It's a pass-fail thing instead of kind of like a graded system. Right. Word, Cyber. There's almost like a sense of performance there. I don't know. Anyways, again, if you're in the stream and you enjoy the stream, this is a reminder to like the video. It helps me a lot. I do want to talk, and I'm not going to talk about this for very long because I don't want to make the stream a downer, but when I was talking, in the streams I often talk about the bands that I've played in. While I was still in Arizona. And out of all those bands, there's a band called Peach Cake. And Peach Cake was a very interesting band because it was the first band that I'd ever played in where I wasn't the only keyboard player. See, Peach Cake was a synth pop band. And there was 3 synthesizer players. And I joined that band after the band had been existing for a pretty long time. They existed quite a while, for a while before I joined. So I joined a band that was already kind of formed. I was like an accompaniment, and that was the band that I would wear a motorcycle helmet. If any of you guys have seen like those old photos of me performing with a guitar and I have a motorcycle helmet on my head, those were Peach Cake shows. And so, basically, when I joined that band, it made me realize this is going to be weird. Just try to stick with me here, because I'm going to talk about tokenism, but I'm using it in a way that's not necessarily related to race. See, typically a keyboard player in a band, especially a synthesizer player, is kind of like the token of that band. They have an ensemble, and usually the keyboard is the thing that kind of stands out. Guitars, there's kind of like a commonality between guitar and bass guitar. It's like they both have strings, they both need to tune before they play. There's like a commonality there. Drummer is kind of on its own island, I would say, as well. But synthesizers are really on an island by themselves. The things that you do in a band as a synthesizer player, typically, I'm talking in broad terms, don't make a lot of sense to the other members of the band. They might have a word about it. They might say, "Hey, can you make that sound a little bit softer?" But typically, if the guitar player gets behind the synthesizer and they try to look at the stuff on the panel, you know, the like subtractive synthesis routing, they're not going to understand what it is. So you're kind of on an island in the band. And I kind of got used to that. And then joining the band Peach Cake, it was the first time that I wasn't really on a synthesizer island. Like, since we were all synth players, we could actually talk about things that they can get into like deep nitty-gritty conversations about synthesis. And this made me grow exponentially as a subtractive synthesizer. I learned so much about sound design and sound shaping and sound creating that I ended up, you know, using later on in my music. All that nice dream stuff, a lot of those sounds, I learned about a lot of them and how to use them and how to shape them from my time in Peach Cake. Anywho, I eventually ended up leaving Peach Cake, as I did all of the bands that I've ever been in, and I moved out to Los Angeles, which is when several of you started to find me. The singer of Peach Cake also, after disbanding the band fully, moved out here to Los Angeles. A lot of like my most accomplished friends from Arizona musically have all kind of moved out here, so it's been an interesting transition. But we had our differences. We didn't talk so much after I left the band. We didn't dislike each other. It's just we had some creative differences, so we stopped working together. But I would see him at a show in Hollywood every now and then. We'd talk to each other in line, like if we saw each other. It was always kind of like a, "Oh wow, I forgot you lived out here" type thing. Anyways, he passed away this week, and I didn't know anything about it. Again, we don't talk like every day or anything like that, but he's no longer with us. And I saw some like posts and blog posts, like music posts about him on Facebook when I was on Facebook yesterday. And I was just like thinking about that and how first of all, it was very upsetting for me because that dude was kind of like a big thing. But for me, but I think I don't know. Again, I wasn't talking to him that much in the very end, but it's like you don't really take into consideration. I mean, it's very rote, and it's been said a million times before. Every time somebody passes away, but I think I don't really think about the impact somebody has in my life until they're no longer around, and I have to like literally turn around and go like, okay, who was this person? What did they mean to me? What is the thing that I can say that's genuine and real? And I think if somebody came up to me and asked me if Stefan, his name was Stefan, they were like, "Hey, you remember Stefan?" I'd be like, yeah. I played in a band with him for a few years. I don't know that I necessarily have anything bad to say about him, but I wouldn't have anything profound to say about him. I'd be like, yeah, he was like this really wild dude that lived in North Arizona that whenever I went to his house, he just had like tons of like analog synths and these like rare things, and he was like a wild mind. He was like one of those creative minds that's almost like just difficult. he would wear like this big like animal onesie like all the time, like all the time. And the longer I spent around him, it became less weird to me. Right, the band was very weird. I do need to say it wasn't like we weren't like Depeche Mode or even Kraftwerk. It was a very weird band. Again, I wore a motorcycle helmet and like a suit and tie. The lead singer always wore this animal onesie. I literally, even like outside of band practices, he would just be. I would run into him. He would be shopping at the grocery store and he would be wearing it. And I was just like, dang, homie is committed to this. He was just one of those like eccentric people. Anyhow, so once I found out that he was gone, I started thinking about like, oh, my life through him, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of things in my music that wouldn't exist without him. I think I went back last night and I listened to Nice Dream. And there's a very specific thing I do in my music. I'm not going to get too deep into it because on one hand, it's a lot of sound design stuff, so I might lose some people in the audience watching the stream. And two, it's just indulgent at that point. Like it doesn't really matter what the specific technique is. But there is a thing that I do a lot in Nice Dream, and still when I'm like filling space and trying to make something sound big, it's a synthesizer technique that I still use today. I used it as recently as 3 days ago. And Stefan is the one who taught me how to do that. Now, eventually, I mean, I use keyboards all the time, so eventually I probably would have found out how to do that. I don't know if it would have occupied the same sonic space in my music or even in my mind. But it's just the solid truth that the only reason I know how to do that today is because of Stefan, and so I don't think he knew that. We didn't really talk about it. We stopped talking about music. Every time I ran into him, our conversations were pretty like, it was like my song catching up. A lot of our conversations were just like, oh yeah, I forgot you live out here. How's music? Oh, you're recording there? Oh, that's cool. You're touring here? Oh, wow, that's sick. I'll have to check that out. And, not actually check it out, just saying things. And then, then I would get on the subway and go home. Be like, oh, I'll probably see that dude again in a couple of months. But anyways, rest in peace, Stefan, who's a good person. I'm gonna continue with the medley now. I don't want to bum anybody out. Good morning, Antec. Can you play Gucci? It's my favorite song. I'll get around to it in a second, Antec. I was just taking a minute to talk about a friend of mine who passed away. Soothsayer says, those animal onesies are mad comfortable though, dude. What's up? I've never worn one. I've seen a lot of people wear them. I have a lot of friends who've done it. It's not really my bag. But, yeah, they have to be comfortable for people to wear them as often as they do. I would hope so. Funny thing is, right before this stream, I had my screen, and I was like, maybe I should put the screen up. I just hate the way screens look. I hate them, and I didn't do it, and now I am running a zoo. It's that fast. It takes 2 seconds. Anyways, that was a weird melancholy version of Love Letters. If you enjoyed that, that's that's cool. Um, I'm going to go into Gucci if that person is even still in the stream. Who and wherever you are. Wow, a lot of people in the stream have onesies or had onesies. Since I've been in LA, I've thought this is a transition period where I've just kept my head down working, and sometimes I have to remind myself that life still goes on. You know what's weird, Sam? Oh my god, I had almost that same exact conversation with a friend of mine who was talking to me because of the death of Stefan. They were like, you're never not working," because I told them that I was just really busy. And they're like, you're always busy. And I was like, yeah, I think I moved to Los Angeles and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like focus on work, focus on music. I'm gonna start putting out music. I'm gonna start like getting my career all together. And then, yeah, there was never like an end to that. There was never like I'm gonna work real hard for this year and then I'm going to pull my head up and then relax. There is no end to it. Yeah, you just kind of work forever. Or I'm projecting. I just kind of work forever. And I feel like every year, I mean, you probably have been in the stream when I've talked about it. Every year I'm like, you know what? This year, guys, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to go somewhere where I'm not playing any shows. There's no brand. There's no sponsorship deal. I'm just going to go and like enjoy a city. And every year I say it, and every year it doesn't happen. This year, I'm not taking all the blame for that not happening. Because traveling right now would be a nightmare. But yeah, it just never happens. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Waiting to hit like some magical level of success where I feel like I've earned a break. Yeah, LA, I think LA does that to you, which is a great thing. I think I've made some of the best music I've ever made since moving out here, and I also think that I've grown super fast by moving out here, but I also think that LA doesn't, the culture of the city isn't really built to allow you to feel like you can take a break from working. Just because everybody around you is always working, you don't want to feel lazy. Unless you're just a lazy person, then I guess it probably doesn't bother you as much. Anyways, this song is called Flight Plan. Thank you, Mariah. This shirt is from a festival that I played called Sun God Festival at UCSD in San Diego. And just like last year, I was bragging about how old it was and how it had stayed in pretty good shape. And then while I was washing in the laundry a couple of days ago, I found some holes on it and some bleach like spots on it. So screw me, I guess. I'm saving up to go to Japan again, says Ava. That's dope. Where are you thinking of going in Japan? Oh, Benella Leo, there you are. How's your week been so far, Leo? Oh, one of your flies left. Oh, Leo just woke up. Dang. Hmm. Wow, I remember having bruschetta years ago. Oh, wow. What songs were there this time, Usaria? I've had it up to here with Spotify. Item shop? What the heck? Why is item shop? Ugh. Thank you for letting me know, Usaria. I'll get to the bottom of it. Goodness gracious. about since Hysteria? Um, you know what was the song written about? I hate Spotify and Pandora, says Leona, for how frequent the ads are. I prefer SoundCloud, but ads have gotten terrible there too. You're not wrong, Leona. Oh, there we go. Item Shop used those reverse sound samples. They did. tune in tomorrow, but I have a meeting and I might have to go cut someone out. Oh, that sounds like fun. That is good. Never heard you play that one. Yeah, I've been playing it in the stream for the past few. As per request by Lindsay. But yeah, I ended up relearning it. Now I've been trying to work it into the streams. Good ear on you though for recognizing it. Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be the first attempt at an OBS stream to do some live production, so we'll see how that goes. Enjoy work, you Sarah. Thank you, Saria. It's a phase E piano. It's just like a Rhodes piano with a phaser on it. Cyber, who asked? You know, whenever I play Bon Bon, I get Well, I had ice cream bonbons last night. I hope you enjoyed them. Yeah. Whenever oh, good luck, Jordan. By the way, with your blood work. Whenever I play, whenever I play Bon Bon, I'm always tempted to reharmonize it. I'm always tempted to do like weirdly weird stuff like that to it, and I always restrain myself because I've never outright just recreated one of my old songs, and I would like to keep it that way. I would like to keep it that way. No promises, never say never, but I'm really trying to do what I can to keep it that way, keep that same energy for all of my songs, and play them. I mean, I know interpretations on the piano can be different, but I mean, like actually making a new form or a new version of Bon Bon and releasing it. I really want to avoid stuff like that. Oh boy. Liana, the other day when I was out in Hollywood at the March, I got a little, like, those little cups of Dibs, those things that are just like vanilla ice cream with, like, Crunch Bar coating. It was disgusting. I always, something happens to me when I'm around other people and they get ice cream. I will always kind of, like, do the whole, like, oh yeah, maybe me too, maybe me too. And I'll try to find the smallest size they have, and I'll get, like, maybe the most bland thing, the least adventurous thing. And I mean, I am lactose intolerant, so the ice cream always makes me a little ill. But I always regret it. But it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure I'll eat, before I leave this earth, I'll probably eat like several gallons more ice cream. It's not even something I particularly enjoy. Even while I'm eating it, I'm like, this is alright. It's like cereal. I don't really enjoy cereal at all, but anyways. Something I realized looking at the stream, along with you guys, is that the closet door behind me is always open. And the initial reason why this was is some of you that have been in the stream for a while remember there used to be a lamp right here, that like a really like tall skinny lamp, and I would turn it on usually when I was doing the night streams. I've since gotten rid of that lamp because it was superfluous, but now I have this like pull-up bar you can't see it, but there's a pull-up bar at the top of my door. One of those Iron Gym ones, or ProFit or whatever, that keeps the door from closing. And the other day I was sweeping from behind this door, and I was like, I think I haven't actually closed my closet door since 2016. Isn't that weird? I mean, probably not weird to any of you. Just a useless piece of trivia, but I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's weird. It makes me want to take down the Iron Gym and just close it, just to close it for one time. See what it's like. Like, it still moves. It'll close if I try to make it, but like, even turning this knob, it sounds so weird. It just hasn't been used in so long. Forgot that I had a door. Okay, this next song is called Winter Heart. It's off of my Signals EP. The jazzier one. Honey Bubble says, hey, sorry I missed yesterday. I had to work. Glad to make it today, though. I hope work yesterday went okay, Honey. I don't close my closet either, but it's because I keep shoes at the bottom that overflow. My wife keeps the closet door open, says Cyber. And it used to infuriate me because I'd run into it when I walk into our restroom. oldie but a goodie. An oldie but a goodie. This next one is called French Lavender. Guys, I'm already feeling weak. For those of you that weren't in the beginning of the stream, I explained that the reason I don't have a smoothie today is because I forgot to prep my fruit last night before I went to bed. And I feel weak without it. You're saying the stream will end in an hour so you don't starve? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm hungry. I love this part of the song. I feel like it flows really well. I feel like some songs they flow so well they almost write themselves. Like I feel not so much like I'm pulling notes out of the piano or that I'm banging on the keys. I feel like I'm following a current. And there's very few. Thank you, Leanna. There's very few of my songs that are like that. One of them, I think it's Upward Motion. It's like I don't know. It's a flow. I'm not gonna try to put it into words. This song does it. I feel like that flows well. I feel like the I feel like there's like a specific flow that's hard to, for me anyway, to cheese on piano. The entirety of a doublets, if I play it right, is like that. Yeah, the whole song has like this is Body Preserve Man. Oh, I forgot about the game show. Remember when I was asking everybody else questions? Leona says. Well, now they know why the Bush was hissing at them. Cyber says, what console have you played the most games on? Thank you for the shirt compliment. I get a lot of compliments on this shirt specifically, and I like the shirt too, but I don't know why other people like it. I don't know why other people like it. Anyways, sorry, I got sidetracked. Good morning, by the way. The console I played the most games on, I want to say, Cyber, PlayStation 2. I want to say PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 just had such a huge library, and I didn't own a PlayStation 3. So when you add those two things up, I was like, I had a PlayStation 1 pretty late in its life cycle. Then a PlayStation 2 came out. I got that, and I just played it forever. I played it until I bought a 360. And even when I bought a 360, I still continued to play games on the PS2 every now and then. So, yeah, I've played the most PlayStation 2 games. It's not even a close race. It's pretty heavily leans to PS2. Even if we go into my living room right now, if we just count the games I own more PlayStation 2 games than I own of any other console. It's like full racks of PlayStation 2 games. Yeah, I just had a solid library. Um. Oh, thank you. Um. Son likes my shirts. We should do a shirt tour one day. Shirt trade. Okay. I'm gonna get into a little bit of gamer talk since Cyber brought up console gaming and PlayStation 2. Today I'm talking about the Sega Dreamcast. No, hold on. Vanilla Whale says any PS2 games that inspire your music. Well, Katamari is one of the big ones. I would actually say that all of the no, let me not say all the games that inspire my music came from PS2, but I would say 95% of them came from PlayStation 2. So Katamari was one, Parappa the Rapper 2, not necessarily the first one. I'm not saying the music in the first one wasn't good, but I'm saying the music in the second one was what left an impression on me specifically. And Dreamcast had some of those titles. Space Channel 5, which I own on PlayStation 2, so I'm going to name that as well. Space Channel 5, big influence on my music. Space Channel 5 did a lot of it was like 60s, like this kind of 60s jazzy lounge music, but there was a lot of like Latin funk and bossa nova in Space Channel 5 actually. And you guys know how I feel about bossa nova, so I'm gonna list Space Channel 5 as an inspiration for some of the music that I've made. That's a PlayStation game. Rez for sure. The very last track in Rez, called "Fear's the Mind Killer," was and probably ever will be one of those tracks that um, I try to hit every now and then, and I hit it sometimes. It's like a very specific sound combination between like really frenetic drums and beautiful chords. It's not attributed specifically to Rez or even that one track, but that's the first time I experienced it, and so I've been putting that in a lot of stuff. Um, what other games? What other PlayStation 2 games? Frequency. I was talking earlier to, I mean, you weren't in here yet, I don't think, but I was talking to Maddie earlier about the first rhythm games I played and how big of an impact those made. Frequency was a huge one, and that was for PlayStation 2. I played Frequency. Oh, you guys want to take a trip down memory lane? Uh, Walmart, they don't have this because I can confirm. I mean, it's not the same. You can still demo games at Walmart, but what Walmart used to have is in the gaming section, they would have these really tiny TVs, maybe the size of my laptop screen, maybe like a 17-inch TV, maybe 13-inch TV, really tiny, and it would be mounted at the very top of the video game shelf. So me being a child, it was it was horrible for my neck. But they would have that, and then they would have like a Nintendo 64 controller or a PlayStation controller just like mounted to this thing where you couldn't like really, steal it or break it or take it away. And you would be able to play games. Now, it wouldn't be a full version of the game. It would usually be a demo that the developers had sent out to Walmart specifically for you to play. Or sometimes there would be a full-on demo disc inside of a PlayStation, inside of this whole contraption. But I'm not going to get into the logistics of it and the specifics. What I'm going to say is I remember going to Walmart and playing a game I didn't quite understand, which was Frequency. It would turn out to be Frequency, and the way it was built is that you were like in this tube, and there were tracks on the tube. It was like, this is the bass guitar, and then on this part of the inside of the tube is the guitar, and then this part is the drums, and then this is the vocals up here on the roof of the tube. And basically, you would press buttons to complete a thing and let that. Trying to oversimplify this, you would press buttons like for the drums, and then as soon as you did that, you could hear the drums down the song, and then you would turn the tube to another part, and it's like, okay, here's the bass guitar. Let me press the buttons for the bass guitar. Then you would hear the drums and the bass guitar. You were basically creating the song, or it gave you a sense that you were creating the song. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what game is this? I have to have this game. I have to have this game. This is amazing. So cool, because it made me feel like I was making music. A lot of my early introduction and feeling of creation, being able to create music, create art, came from games. Games were kind of like spoon feeding me that feeling. And so, good morning, Afro Addy. And so I had to have that game. I ended up finding it. It wasn't very expensive. I can't remember what that was. You know, if it was like a Christmas present, if it was just a thing that my parents got. But I do remember receiving that game, and I remember loving it and having nobody else in my personal life that knew about that game or cared about that game. It was kind of like a thing I enjoyed all by myself. And that game has definitely, even though that game didn't inspire how I make music or what my music sounds like, Penelope, that game was the first time that I had a visual and sonic representation of ensemble. You know, I would listen to a Linkin Park song or listen to a Run DMC song, and I'm like, what a great song. But that game forced me to listen to songs intently and go, okay, this is the snare, this is a bass, this is a guitar, and actually hear what was happening in the song. Dissecting the song came from games like that. And so, if I'm naming PlayStation 2 games that had anything to do with the inspiration of my music career and my creation of music, it would be wild if I didn't mention Frequency. Anyhow, sorry for putting everybody to sleep on that one. Cyber says my favorite part of Frequency is that people could make edits of the tracks on the game and upload them. I downloaded a reggaeton remix of one of the tunes I was sold. Yeah, that's another thing about the game. So I will say this, and then we can move on. And I want to talk about this game because me and Cyber are getting it, but I feel like I'm losing the rest of the people in the stream. There is also a remix mode in the game where they would basically give you all the sounds and resources from the tracks in the game, and you could arrange them your own way to make like a remix or your own interpretation of the song. It was way ahead of its time. I would say that a lot of music games even today have not quite hit the mark in the specific way that one did. I think that games, I mean, they're not the only way to do this, but it helps. And I don't even mean just video games. I mean like children's games, board games. A lot of games are supposed to be fun, but even the ones that don't consider themselves or refer to themselves as being educational, you are teaching people skills when they play video games. I learned how to drive from playing Crazy Taxi. I played the game Crazy Taxi for Dreamcast for a long time, and of course, yeah, I'm not sitting in the steering wheel. I'm talking about I understood how a car behaves from Crazy Taxi. Understanding how counter steering works, understanding how reversing works, understanding how braking works. A lot of that came from that game. Because if you guys will remember, Crazy Taxi wasn't a racing game. You had to like navigate a city in that game. It wasn't just go straight and beat all the other cars. It was more so like, what's the quickest way to get here? It taught me how to use detours and side streets. It's really weird. Kind of not the point of that game at all. I think the point of that game was just to have an arcade style, quarter eating monster of a Sega, I don't know, title, but that game taught me how cars behave and how cars work and how streets work and how, oh my god, guys. Crazy Taxi had one-way streets in the game, and it had traffic in the game, and so sometimes if somebody was like, I want to go to KFC, and you can see the arrow, because there's a little arrow that wouldn't tell you what streets to take, but it would just point in the direction of what the thing is you need to go to. Sometimes you would have to use critical thinking to go, well, that's a one-way, I'm probably going to hit more oncoming traffic that way. Or you would think, like, this way has a lot of traffic, I can go through this way. And yes, it was Crazy Taxi, so you were doing a lot of illegal moves, like maybe driving through Central Park or whatever to make it to where you want to go. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about driving. And so when I went to start driving myself, I didn't need like my mom or dad in the car really monitoring me day after day, you know, making sure that I knew what I was doing. I kind of was pretty easy. It was just, you know. Anyways. And yes, I know that Central Park is in New York City and Crazy Taxi takes place in San Francisco. I don't think anybody was going to call me out on that, but I just want to cover my own butt there. Good morning, Gabriel. This song that I'm playing now, or preparing to play, is called Signals. It's an older song off of the Signals EP of the same name. I'm going to be playing a different rendition of it. It's normally an uppity song, an upbeat song. You're talking about the skills you transfer from games into real life. I'm quite passionate about that topic, says Gabriel. Yeah, I think I was just. I mean, somebody in the stream asked about music that I had that was inspired by PlayStation 2 games, or how I had been inspired as a musician by PlayStation 2 games. And I was talking about how, I mean, the conversation stemmed from frequency, and I was talking about how when you make a game, whether it's a video game or, a physical, tactile game, you're teaching people things, whether you want to or not. We have educational games for sure. There's like flight sims or something like that. But even if I'm not playing a flight sim, even if I'm playing Star Fox, I'm still going to understand maybe how a reverse Y X axis works, or a reverse Y axis anyway. Holding up to go down, holding down to go up. It's going to teach me something. You're going to learn something that is going to be applicable to you the rest of your life. I know a lot of people like to think of video games as kind of like a box system where it's like you learn a lot of things in GTA, and then that knowledge is only applicable to GTA, or at most just applicable to other games like GTA. But a lot of the game logic you learn is directly applicable to real life. Um, hmm. This is true, Gabriel. This song is called Clover Salad. Gabriel says today there's a bit of a vogue to look down at games as just playthings or just art. Well, at least we got art, right? It took us forever to get them to be looked at as art, but I'll move on. But they can teach us a lot of both active skills and life lessons. It wouldn't be too different from a military general playing chess to sharpen his mind. Absolutely, Gabriel. I agree with this. A tactical mind can definitely be honed by playing chess. I think games in general are more acceptable, says Cyber. Back in the day, it was way worse. I grew up before games had a rating system. Nowadays, esports are respected. Yes, they can always be a little bit more respected, but it's hard, right? It's hard. Are they respected? They are heavily invested in. esports is a billion dollar industry. So they're invested in, and in the United States of America, where I feel like money is like the highest value, then yeah, I suppose it's respected. People didn't used to invest money in esports, and now look at us. I mean, I can't say us. I'm not really an e-athlete. An e-athlete, is that what they're called? I never had to think that far. I never thought about it this much. Where I've learned more from some games, says Gabriel, than some classes I took and some jobs I did. Gabriel, truth. There's truth. There's a lot of truth there. There are so many classes I took that I do not remember. I don't remember anything from them. I got an A. I don't remember one thing that teacher said, including that teacher's name. But I learned how to drive from Crazy Taxi. Give respect where it's due, I suppose. I've also learned weird things about like religion from games. I've learned about like the military from games. I've learned about stuff that I don't really need to know about from games. Like, they aren't necessarily life skills, but just weird trivia, like where countries are or something like that. I've learned a lot about history from Assassin's Creed, actually, which, is embarrassing. But history that's not really that useful to me anyway, but some trivial history I've definitely learned from Assassin's Creed, which has a lot of historical, I guess, fruit in it, because its setting is based in whatever. I'm tired of talking about Assassin's Creed. I don't even like those games anymore. This next song, after Clover Salad, after I finish Clover Salad, I do like that song. This next song doesn't have a name. It's more of a transition song. Let's ask ourselves, says Gabriel, is it embarrassing? Even if the game didn't age well, if it taught you something that made you passionate towards and invested in a subject, it's worth its price in gold, says Gabriel. I definitely feel the same way, which is why I have loving regard for all of the rhythm games I've played, even if I didn't love them, like Mad Maestro. It's a deep cut for some of you guys. Mad Maestro is a rhythm game that I played a bit, but I have no favorable memories of it, but I still, credit it to being one of the building blocks of my entire music. I guess passion? I think sometimes I felt, what's the word? Sometimes I felt invalidated when I look at some other musicians talk. This still occurs to this day. The invalidation is mostly gone, but it's still kind of a weird feeling. I'll listen to musicians talk, and they'll talk about like, oh man, the first time I heard Pink Floyd, oh my god, I remember where I was. I was 6 years old, and I was in the park on the swing, and I heard Pink Floyd, and I thought from that moment, like, that's me, man. I want to be a guitar player. And they have like wild stories like that. Or they're like, I remember hanging out at the record shop and waiting for new stuff to come and, combing through all the used CDs, looking for new stuff. That wasn't me at all. I didn't have some, like, burning passion for music as a kid where I was, like, really looking for it and trying to educate myself on it and find new records and stuff like that. Arguably, if I'm going to credit, I'll say 5. I'll pick an arbitrary number of 5. If I'm going to say 5 things that really fueled my music creation as it is today, in tangible ways, I don't mean in like subliminal ways, like, oh, when I was a baby, I might have heard something that somehow later subconsciously ended up coming out in music. I'm talking about tangible ways that I can track A to B in my music career now. Thing number 1 is a man named Jake Gritman gave me a pirated copy of FL Studio 3. That was everything. I didn't know what a DAW was. I didn't know what music creation was. I didn't know how to produce. I didn't even know what a producer was or what they did. But he gave me a pirated copy of FL3, and I'm still using FL Studio to this day, and that's really the only thing that I think helped me start my career in production. However, I didn't ask him to give me that. I didn't even know what to ask for. He literally gave me a CD, a burned CD with that on it, and like some other stuff, like games, like indie games. He gave me RPG Maker. He just like gave me stuff. He was just one of those guys. I was just like, hey, you want, you know? And so he gave me that. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't wanting it. I just luck. It just, by fortune. Me hanging out with Jake, he gave me FL Studio 3. That's thing number one. I would say thing number two is I happened to be. The first instrument that I was playing in a band was a bass guitar. The bass guitar belongs to a boy named Aaron who played in the praise and worship band in my church. The reason that I got that bass guitar and played wasn't because I had some deep-seated passion for bass guitar. It was just because I wanted to feel needed in band settings. I was like, this instrument seems low effort. It's got 4 strings, doesn't seem that complicated. Don't have to play chords on it. All these bands need a bass player. Okay, I guess, yeah. How much is the bass? I don't remember how much he sold it to my dad, who ended up buying it for me for, but it was a negligible amount of money compared to how much a bass guitar actually costs. So that's thing number two. Not not some cool, super inspirational story about how like, oh, I saw Flea play the bass in the Red Hot Chili Peppers music video and I was so inspired. There was no inspiration. It was just, I decided I wanted to do a thing. Let's see, what's a third thing? Out of the 6 bands that I've been in, I only started one of them. And I didn't even really start that band. If I'm being completely transparent, I joined the first band because I needed a bass player. I co-created the second band because the first band broke up and the guitarist from the first band was like, hey, want to make a new band? And he asked me that. And I was just like, yeah, I guess. And it was really his dream. He named the band. I helped write the music, but he named the band. He was the singer of the band. He was the voice of the band. I was just kind of there. And then from there, the Crush asked me to join. Peach Cake asked me to join their band. Weird as the New Cool asked me to join their band. I was asked to join Two Tone Disco. I just kind of kept, getting, tossed around. It wasn't like I saw them and was like, oh, I can hear my voice in this band. What is that thing? That's thing number 4. Omni bass stream went, ooh, never. My bass guitar is at my parents' house, so it's hundreds of miles away. The internet is a magical place, Gabriel. I would say the final bit is... video games, right? I played DDR. The reason I played DDR is because my friend, who, by the way, I owe a lot to him. His name is Anthony. He's the reason that I got into... he was just a weeb. So anything... He was a black weeb, which especially in Arizona was pretty rare at the time. So anything that I liked that was particularly weeby was because of him. And I remember him bringing over DDR and the mat, the dance mat. And he was like, "Yo, you gotta play this game." And I played it with him for a little while, and I was like, "I guess this is pretty cool." And that was my introduction to so much weird stuff, like Japanese music as a whole, electronic music, dance music, And so yeah, I feel like whenever I hear those interviews of somebody that's like, oh my god, I can remember the first time I heard Thriller by Michael Jackson, I thought, oh, that bass line. I was like, I wasn't thinking about bass the first time I heard Thriller. I was thinking this video is freaking scary. I'm gonna have nightmares. That's what I thought when I saw Thriller. Great music, by the way. Michael Jackson, great music, but I didn't listen to it and think, ooh, I want to make this. My brain wasn't there. So I say all that to say, people talk. If we're talking about learning skills from video games and people not necessarily respecting that, I feel like people would kind of laugh at me for a while. In certain circles, it's fine. Like if I'm hanging out in chiptune circles and I'm like, video games are the reason I make music. People are like, cool, same, all of us. But in real circles and the modern circle of the music industry, if I tell people oh yeah, I don't know, I think if they're like, oh, what were some of your earliest memories of music and you getting inspired to make it? It would be like, I don't know. I guess there is a rhythm game frequency with a bunch of bands and artists that you don't know, came out, and then I played that on my PlayStation. There was a keyboard, there was a bass guitar, there was a band, there was a pirated copy of FL Studio. It's just kind of a messy, not as clean and manicured and inspirational story as it were, as much as some people kind of make their origin stories. My origin story is just kind of messy and directionless. Oh crap, Henry. That Gabriel says your origin story. What somebody does for you doesn't have to be special. What makes your journey special is the work and passion you end up pouring into it. This is true, Gabriel. This is true. For sure. Jay Gritman could have given me a copy of FL Studio, and I could have just gone, this thing is confusing and hard. I think curiosity. It's hard to draw the line between curiosity and passion, right? Because it used to be so much easier to be bored. I honestly feel part of me feels somewhat bad for like I don't know somebody that's like 12 right now. It used to be so easy to be bored, and in my opinion, being bored is like good because it makes you do kind of weird things. Like if you don't have a bunch of video games, you don't have cable television, you're like, okay, I need to figure out something to do to be fun. My thing, when I was like, okay, I've already played all my video games, the internet isn't nearly at the time. I was like, it wasn't nearly what it is now. It was kind of boring. Like the internet was for the most part, unless you were playing an MMO, it was kind of like a solo experience. There wasn't a lot of like discourse and entertainment, and so I started making music. But I think that maybe if I was at the same age right now and the internet was how it is today, I wouldn't have had. I'm not saying I wouldn't make music, but I'm just saying I wouldn't have had a as organic and natural of a succession into music making as I did. Maybe I would be making music just because I saw a lot of other people doing it. When I was in high school, I was the only person using Fruity Loops and like messing around with like beat making and stuff like that. Nobody else was. Everybody else was playing like World of Warcraft, and so there wasn't like a peer pressure to be a creator and to be an artist like there is now. I feel like a lot of kids are just kind of pushed into doing something quote unquote creative because they want to be interesting or like get their followers up or something. But yeah, just that wasn't a pressure, when I was young. I'm not saying it's something that I wouldn't have cared about if it were a pressure. I'm just saying that that pressure didn't exist. Being bored. I do remember being bored, Sam. Sam says remember being bored. I I would like to be bored again one day. A bored again Christian. I would like to be bored again. That would be great. Um, some of my dopest ideas have come out of boredom. I feel something different now, and maybe this is just part of adulthood. Maybe it's a sign of the times. But now, where I used to feel bored, now I feel pressure. I feel like an anxiety. I used to sit around and think, there's nothing to do. Let me find something to do. And now I never think there's nothing to do. I always think, there's so many things to do. Why am I not doing anything? It's like the opposite problem. Okay. This song is called Liminality. This stream has been so interesting today, by the way. It's been like very slow and drab. I apologize if I've been contributing to that. Hello, Jaime. Gabriel says romanticized starts are overrated. I agree. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco and went to uni in Washington State. What made him special is that he could push his body in training to insanity. I love Bruce Lee. I watched a documentary about him this year, or it was really a documentary about kung fu movies. But as you could imagine, like 40 to 50% of the documentary was just like really a doc on Bruce Lee's life. as like maybe a climb. I can add that to the end. That makes the song a little bit longer, but I can cut out some fluff in the middle and add that to the very end. Yeah, down here. Ooh, okay. If you're going to make puns, do it with confidence. Gabriel is such a force. Gabriel is such a strong force in the stream. Um. Mm, 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 Okay, the guy was born. The guy was born to actors, but you don't become a director from being a child actor. This is true, Gabriel. And he became a martial arts legend in his own accord and will to train. Yeah, it's really wild, his story. His story. Even while I was watching that doc, there was a lot of stuff that I knew because I'm a big like Bruce Lee head. I'm a big Bruce Lee head. I'm a big Jackie Chan head. I'm a big kung fu head. Big kung fu head. But I do know a lot of Bruce Lee facts, and even looking at that documentary, I was like, yo, this man was like, he was. We're just gonna wax. We're gonna wax poetic about Bruce Lee. I'm not gonna say a lot about Bruce Lee, but I'm gonna say he was like physically capable, and he was also very smart. But he was also like bold professionally, if that makes sense. Which is a thing that I even struggle with. You know, it's not enough to just be talented. You also, if you're not gonna do it, you have to be talented and then have somebody who's going to like be your manager or be your face, be your voice, and be like, yo, we need to get him in here. He's really good. Yo, we need to get him these opportunities. You need somebody that's gonna be your champion. Bruce Lee was like his own champion, which is wild that he had to do all that. And people still constantly told him no, by the way, all the time. It took forever for. I'm not gonna talk about this, but go look at a. There's like a free kung fu documentary on Amazon Prime that talks a lot about Bruce Lee's struggle and why, um, you know, why it wasn't fair. What happened with him? Um, but yeah, Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, fortunately, I mean, Bruce Lee was taken from us too early. Very, very sad. Jackie Chan, we fortunately still have. I want to meet this man before he dies, but Jackie Chan is another one who just like has worked and worked and worked and been underappreciated forever and has never been like, where's my trophy? He's never like asked for a spotlight. And then when we finally did give him this like weird pity Oscar of like, hey, you've made like 160 films. Here's you, I guess, you know, we gave him this thing. He still wasn't like gloaty about it. I don't know. I think it is a culture thing. I think it's kind of baked into the way he was raised and his whole culture. Americans seem a little bit more boasty than. Anyways, I need. If I'm going here and then here. Ugh, no. What you did or Jaybird? Crow, I did play Jaybird very, very early in the stream. You might have missed it. You might have missed it. But I have not played Witchy yet. Not yet. Um, yeah. Jackie Chan's an amazing fight choreographer. Oh my god. I am a sucker for fight choreography, which is why I like High Kick Angels, but we're not going to talk about that because Lindsay's not in the stream. Duh. Oh, so close. So we're going. Oh, I see where the error was now. It's gonna take me a minute. Jackie Chan won Chun-Li cosplay contest. Ooh. Crow is referencing a movie called City Hunter. A very, very old and underappreciated, just altogether kind of unknown Jackie Chan film. I'm a Jackie Chan head, so of course I know that film. Uh, yeah, Jackie Chan is Chun-Li for a second. And Jackie Chan is also E. Honda in it for a second, but we're not going to talk about that movie. Any thoughts on Donnie Yen? Donnie Yen's amazing. Jaime, I love all the Ip Man movies, and I know Donnie Yen's bigger than Ip Man movie. If we're talking about Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen was actually the main villain in Shanghai Nights, the sequel to Shanghai Noon, which is a Jackie Chan film. So watching Jackie Chan fight Donnie Yen in that movie was a very big thing for me as a fan of both of them. But I think Donnie Yen has... I'm not going to say Donnie Yen has a bigger dramatic range than Jackie Chan. I don't really want to pit them against each other like that, especially since Jackie Chan's movies are built differently than Donnie Yen's have been. And if you've seen the movie The Foreigner, which is the latest film we've had out here of Jackie Chan, he plays dramatic roles incredibly well. But Donnie Yen, I think, is not just limited to his ability to fight and his physical prowess. We got to talk about his acting too. Like the man's a titan. Obviously, his catalog isn't nearly the size of Jackie Chan, so it's hard, right? I don't want to put them against each other, but I don't want to put them against each other. But yeah, Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen. I love Donnie Yen. Hopefully that's enough. Hopefully that's enough. Okay, so I take back what I said earlier. I misspoke. Because Gabriel's like, Jackie Chan's band are made 160 films. He has not. It's like roughly 120. He's been in 122. I think I've only seen like 50 Jackie Chan films, and some of them are Jackie Chan films by like credit only. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sammo Hung or the Lucky Stars series. There's like a film called Lucky Stars, and there's another one called Lucky Stars Always Win, or Lucky Stars Always something, or Always Lucky Stars, or All My Lucky Stars. Anyways, it's a series that Sammo Hung is a good friend of Jackie Chan's. If you don't know who Sammo Hung is, it's fine. He's also a great fight choreographer, really, really good. They had a movie together, which was one of the Lucky Stars, in the Lucky Stars series, and Jackie Chan is in it for quite a bit, but it's clearly not his movie. It was clear that it was like a Sammo Hung film, and Jackie Chan kind of shows up in the beginning, and then shows up in the end again to like be an amazing person. But yeah, go watch Lucky Stars. Also, keep in mind, if you're familiar with Sammo Hung films, it won't be a surprise. But if you haven't seen a Sammo Hung film, you haven't seen like Shanghai Express, or you haven't seen Lucky Stars, or you haven't seen Magnificent Butcher, it is a little. He has a certain style. It's mostly comedy. It's kind of like Jackie Chan films. It's like mostly comedy and fight choreography, but I would say it airs more on comedy than it does on fighting. The fighting is usually comical, kind of like Jackie Chan. Okay. Whew, Jesus. I think we should probably start wrapping it up before I just go into a rant about kung fu films. But I will say this is gonna be my button on the issue. Hold on. Gabriel says this reminds me. I still need to watch Old Boy. I've been meaning to watch this ever since I saw the corridor scene. It's kind of a bummer that you saw the corridor scene before seeing the movie, but I get that that scene is so iconic that it's hard not to have seen it, especially if you didn't see Old Boy really early on. Gabriel, Old Boy was a weird movie for me because being a kid, being a child, as we all once were, I was very, very heavily exposed to Japanese things, you know, whether it was Pokemon, it was Dragon Ball, even if it wasn't anime, if it was video games, if it was the PlayStation itself or the Nintendo itself, both of these things come from Japan. I was just seeing and hearing and feeling and playing and living Japanese stuff, whether I knew it or not. Old Boy, even though I didn't know, because I didn't know Japanese at the time, I just knew, you know, Asian foreign film. And so I remember watching Old Boy and I thought to myself, this movie's very strange, it's different. Somehow it's different than a lot of the films that I've been watching, these foreign Japanese films. And it was, I would learn later it was because the film was Korean, and Korean films and Japanese films, just like their TV shows, just like their music, they have their own identity, even if it's hard to describe in words. And so when I saw the Old Boy movie as a kid, I was like, I need more of this. How do I get more things like this? And I kept watching a bunch of Japanese films. I just didn't, and I couldn't find it. Later, I found out that it was because it was from a completely different country. And Korean films, even not by that director, do have kind of like that feel to them. Something to think about. But Old Boy is a very good film. And yes, that hallway scene has inspired, like, oh my god, so many films' fight choreography. Like, they've been cited on inspiring the fight choreographer for Daredevil. If you've watched the Daredevil Marvel series, you would notice that in every season of Daredevil there is a scene where it's like this one unbroken shot of fighting, and it just mimics the hallway Old Boy scene so much. I love it. Very good. The button though that I'm gonna put in martial arts films before I move on to the news of the stream and the ending of the stream ultimately is that martial arts films, kind of like roller coasters, are a thing that was new to the world, and it was kind of janky, and then we perfected the art of it, right? We perfected the roller coaster. We figured out how to really get the thrill, we figured out how many G's the human body could take without dying, and we would push it to that limit. It's like, yo, we're gonna like make you feel something, we're just not gonna kill you, we're gonna push you though. And I feel like martial arts movies did that same thing. They got to this level where like, we're gonna do as much as we possibly can. The actors in this are going to be hurt, some of them are gonna break some bones, but we're gonna do it for the art. We're not gonna kill them, but we're not doing green screen or not always even being hoisted up on strings. We're gonna do the thing. Jackie Chan being one of the pioneers and still like champions of. I'm about to like rip all the skin off of my hands by sliding down some weird pole just for the art. So I feel like roller coasters and martial arts films are like this, and unfortunately, both of them have kind of been undercut by technology. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna speak to how you guys are and what you guys enjoy, but I hate it when I go to a theme park and I get on like the new ride, and then the ride is they put me in a seat and there's a screen in front of me, and the seat kind of goes like this every 2 seconds, and they like squirt me with some salt water and then spray some perfume, and they go, oh, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that worth $120? And I go, no, this was trash. I don't like this at all. It was like being in a movie theater during an earthquake. I don't feel good. I think theme parks are moving away from the roller coaster and moving more towards like experiences, like the VR experience, or being in a thing with like goggles on and smells and stuff. And martial arts movies kind of left that core origin of like when the Matrix came out, and now people are doing all kinds of wild stuff. There's CGI and there's green screen. And as much as I enjoyed like the Avengers film Endgame and Infinity War, those aren't kung fu films. Those aren't martial arts films. So, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But as much as I enjoy those films, it's never gonna hit the same. Looking at a bunch of people like doing yeah and shooting beams out of their hands and like killing a big like green monster, it's gonna look cool, but it's never gonna hit the same as the the hideout scene in Rumble in the Bronx, where Jackie Chan finds where the gang has been hiding out and he fights them. It's it's wild because I'm not looking at any technology. I'm just looking at some people, and it's wildly more impressive and entertaining for me personally than say watching Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man go hamburger all over Thanos. So I think people think that everything needs to be all techie now, says Son. Jaime says, don't forget to like the video, folks. Thanks, Jaime. Hero says, that is one of the reasons why Hollywood is my guilty pleasure. It feels so raw and real. I don't know what that is. If you could explain really quickly as I go over the news, I would actually be interested. I want to know what that is. But yeah, that's my feel on martial arts films. I love them, and I think I respect them and love them even more because they're limited. Because we have all of them. They're not really happening, not to that degree anymore. Like, we still have them every now and then, but not, we've gotten away from what was happening. People have insurance now and stuff like that, Like, people don't want to do what Jackie Chan was doing. So, I have two of my latest EPs that are out. I've been slowly translating a lot of the songs from them and making acoustic versions for the stream, i.e. Ego Death, which I was playing earlier. And Vanilla, which, I would have played, but Lindsay wasn't in the stream today, but Vanilla. I've been going through a lot of those. So if you enjoy them being played in the stream and you want to hear like the actual recorded, fully realized versions of those songs, as well as my latest single called The View, you can hear those on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. Since you're on YouTube now, I also have videos that I've shot to accompany a lot of those songs, so you can check them out on my page. I did all the work of actually organizing them in my page. So there's like a morning medley playlist. There's a playlist of the Quarantunes. There's a playlist of like my remixes, and there's so it's a little bit easier access now. So check that out. I see the link that you sent, Gabriel, and I will check it out. I think it's been, I can undo the filter. There you go. I just realized I can overwrite that really easily. I'm gonna start overwriting when YouTube hides things that I want to be seen. Anyways, Jaime says, I don't have a song yet. But could Liminality be my song? Liminality can be your song, Jaime, if, one, I ever finish it, and two, if you come often enough for me to actually play it. Because since Liminality is newer and more difficult to play, I don't want to attribute it to somebody quite yet, because if somebody, for example, Maddie comes into the stream all the time, so I always get to play Maddie's song. Kid James, however, doesn't come into the stream all the time, so I don't always get to play Kid James' song. And I worry sometimes that if people aren't consistent, I'll forget the song, because we all know how my memory works. And when Easy Doris stopped asking me to play Clover Salad, I legit forgot that song. And I had to relearn that song by looking at an old, like a 2-year-old video of me playing piano at the train station. I was like, oh crap, I forgot about that song. And I was like looking at my hands to relearn it. So I'm just like, I have to be careful so I don't forget the song. At least before it's recorded, that is. It's super cheesy, but they taught themselves martial arts and try to keep some of the fighting real. Oh, says Gabriel about the thing that they sent. Jackie Chan Adventures is returning, says Jaime. How do I feel about this? My feelings about this are twofold. One, I'm tired. I'm tired of the nostalgia. Can we just stop bringing everything back? I don't need it, right? I just don't want it. I don't need a new season of this. I don't need a revival of this. I don't need a reboot of this. I don't need a new that. I don't need Pokemon Snap to come back. These are the things I don't need. These are the things I don't want. I didn't need them to remaster Resident Evil 2. I didn't need them to remaster Resident Evil 3. I didn't need them to redo Demon Souls 1. Like, I don't need these things. I'm not saying people can't enjoy them. I'm not saying they don't need to exist. I'm just saying it's really hard for me to get excited about my own childhood being regurgitated back out at me with like a new polish, right? Like they give it a good old spit shine, you know. Like let's just release the Nintendo 64 again. Why not? Let's just make a Nintendo 64 Lite. Oh, hey, what's up, Dar? Sorry, Dar. This is the end of the stream, but I'm glad that you were able to make it at least for the send off. Originality is decreasing, says Son. Okay, so without being, because I know what I just said sounded very, very jaded. Without being too jaded, I understand the pressure of a capitalist society. I understand that originality in all facets of life and industry are seen as risks. A lot of us call it originality and we call it something new, cool, new IP. But if in the world of money, those things are seen as gambles. And if you're not a gambling person, you probably don't want to take risks. If you're not a gambling person, you probably don't want to be original. And so even if I put out a song that went if I put out a song that sounded like that and it did really well, and then ever since then I've been putting out songs like this, and nobody liked it, guess what I'm probably gonna do if I want to eat? I'm probably gonna keep doing something. I'm probably gonna stay on that jazzy tip. So it's hard for me to be extra personally critical against people that are like putting out, you know, the old stuff. They're like, hey, people really liked Powerpuff Girls when we made that. Let's just do it again. You know, like I get it from a financial standpoint, but yes, as a consumer, it is exhausting. Goodbye, Mariah. Thank you for being in the stream. We're all gonna get out of here. We're all gonna get out of here for sure. Thank you, Dar. Yeah, everybody remember listen to Not on My Watch. It's on the Quick Breath EP that I put out last year. I have been wishing for a long time that they would re-air something old with a new shine without making a soulless sequel, says Gabriel. Hmm. Word. They feeding off nostalgia, says Son? Yes, absolutely. Nostalgia is, there's a market for that. It's definitely marketable. You know what has cool original music, says Dar? Is it me? Are you going to reference me? Are you going to reference me? If it's not, wow, boy, did I sound conceited. Gabriel says, hey, Omni, have you ever named the scale you usually work on? Have you ever named the scale you usually work on? Have you ever named the scale? You're talking about like piano scale, like scale? I don't know scales. Some of you will know that I did check out a book on music theory last year from the library, and I did learn a few like things. I was like thumbing through it, but I didn't stick with it. I didn't read it every day. It was kind of one of those things that I looked at and went, huh. So, be interesting. But I don't know like the names of scales. I don't really know the names of keys very well. It was kind of one in one ear and out the other, and I feel bad maybe about that. Maybe I feel bad. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know even what like a scale is really. Like I don't know what the name of a scale is. Like I wouldn't even be able to just throw it in a random name. Like at least for keys, I think like A is a key. Like we're in the key of D. You know, we're in the key of G minor because that's like a thing, I think. But I actually don't know scales. Gabriel says I meant more symbolically rather than specifically. What does that mean? I'm lost. You lost me. You're going one deeper than me. I'm not. You're leaving me behind. I finally listened to the view, says Jaime. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad, Jaime. Thank you for taking the time. I do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day at work. I hope it's a good one. I hope it's a good Wednesday for you. Where is cool original music, Dar? Tell me. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap it up, Crow. I'm sorry. I want before I wrap it up, I want to know what Dar's talking about, and I also would like to know what Gabriel's talking about because I don't want to cut them off. Oh, it's Ruby. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Is it pronounced Ruby? I don't want to say RWBY every time I see it. Is it pronounced Ruby? Um, oh, word, it's pronounced Ruby. Enigma made it to the very end. Hey, what's up, Enigma? How's your Wednesday going? Anna says, I was thinking about what you said yesterday about being a big time streamer, quote unquote, giving the attention to the individuals that donate and the most. Happy you're so down to earth and genuinely here for. Aw, that's a really nice thing to say. Castillo. Nice thing to say. Yeah, I'm no big time. I'm no big time. Only a regular time here. Okay. So what I was asking, says Gabriel, is if you would have to name the notes you usually go for, what would you name them? Oh, a way different question. Okay, I'm sorry I misinterpreted your question. Okay. Okay. Not in a theory definition, just by feel. I don't know. I don't think about music that way. That's such an interesting. Oh, I love questions like this because I have a very locked in perspective of the way I see music, which maybe that's poor terminology because it's very loose. I don't really think about even when I hear about keys, it's weird to me because I just think of it as kind of just like a bed of nonsense so that I'm just hitting stuff in there. I'm not even specifically only playing, I don't know. I don't know, but that's something I might think about. Gabriel, what? Okay. A name for the notes you usually go for. Pretty? Definitely not happy. I don't know. Lush? I'm just throwing out random words now. Okay. Let's say lush for now until I come up with a better word. Hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. Says Leon. Ooh. Oh. Bring in the alliteration in Maddie's absence. Omni, I need this MIDI. I've only got the first part of Hush Hour before the breakdown. Crow wants the MIDI for Hush Hour. Maybe I'll make a video teaching how to play Hush Hour too. Maybe when I make my video for Lindsay showing how to play Vanilla. I'll keep this in mind, Crow. This is my favorite time of the day now, says Oni Bubble, when the stream ends. Oni Bubble just can't wait to get out of here. Some Oriental Samurai sounding 175 BPM stuff. So what? Samurai. I like Oriental Samurai sounding. The Lush scale. Ooh, it sounds cooler when you say it. When I said it, it sounds stupid, but reading it in text, it sounds cool. Wow, thank you. No, I'm going to stick with that. I'm not even going to try to think of anything better. That's dope. Okay, since you got an electric piano, can you have Hush Hour and play Turn Right It to MIDI? This is true. I can do that. I can do that. But I have like a weird thing where I don't like giving MIDI to people. Unless I'm collaborating with them. It's weird. I don't want to get into why, but it's a thing. Oh, that's what you're making. The name is telling me. That's what type of music they're making. Is it drum and bass? Is it like halftime or full time? Because 175 full time Samurai Oriental sounding stuff might be interesting. Wasn't the Ninja Tune by Ecstatic for Inspo in England, says Liana. What? Isn't Ninja... Isn't... Whatever. It's drum and bass. I figured. 175 just makes you think of drum and bass. Okay. I really do have to wrap it up, as Crow said. Thank you, everybody. That song was called Hush Hour, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for being in the stream. I appreciate you guys all. I have to go make something to eat. I am starving, and I'm probably going to make waffles. It's a low-effort type of day, so I'm probably going to make waffles. You skipped over my request. See you in court. Subpoenas. Oh crap! Dar had a request. Dar, come on now. Wait. No, I didn't. Dar, you were just talking about Ruby. Oh, wait, listen to the music. You're legally obligated. There's a contract and everything. Oh. If you're requesting that I listen to Ruby, it's on the docket. It's on the docket, exactly like Isidora's City of God was. I mean, I'll try not to take 2 years like I took for Isidora's City of God. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you always for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It's the internet, and no one's making you do that. I don't have a moderator, other than the good people here at Google YouTube or whatever, GooTube. So I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow at 9 a.m. for stream number 160, which again is you know, if the stream's bad, I apologize, but it's going to be my first attempt at an OBS stream in FL Studio, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.